My name is Netiva Caftori, and I'm reading you a story I wrote in May of 2004, okay, 18 years ago, from Porto-Novo, the capital of Benin. The name of the story is The Life of a Hen, because I grew some hen in my yard. It was an amazing experience. Okay. I have lived on 4 continents and have countless stories. One that I'm still excited about, but not sure if there's interest, is about growing chicken in the wild in Benin, West Africa. Are you interested? I was a Fulbright scholar teaching math and computer science in a graduate institute in Porto-Novo. It was called IMSP, Institut de Math et Physical Science. Okay. I wasn't used to living alone and was in dire need of companionship. At first, I adopted a kitten, rescued from a restaurant where his family was used to chase mice. But then a hen adopted me, in my backyard. I've learned so much on the life of chicken in the wild and learned to appreciate them. Unlike what I knew before about hen being stupid, I discovered that although they are mostly led by instinct, they have human-like personalities and behave accordingly. For example, sleeping arrangements were negotiated every evening between 3 siblings, 2 females and 1 rooster, as there was room on a branch for only 2 of them. It was pathetic and most enjoyable sight every evening at 6:50 precisely. For more now. G is my chicken, arrived into my backyard with 5 chicks, 1 black and 4 white. She may have come there earlier before hatching them, but I wouldn't know. At first, she was afraid of me and ran away when I followed her and the little ones with my camera. However, with time, she learned to trust me and came requesting her food every morning. After a while, I noticed she slept under a tree in my yard with her chicks under her wings. I knew then she belonged to this place. The chicks grew. One of them disappeared one day that my cat was out. My cat was always in, but that one day he escaped. I'm not sure of his sort. The remaining 4 chicks kept growing, and with time, I could recognize 2 hens and 2 roosters. G one day became aggressive, that's mother, chasing her kids away from her, especially when food was given to them. I was explained that she's getting ready to lay eggs. Indeed, every day, an egg was added to a new nest she chose behind a bush against the wall. It was a well-protected spot from the element and an observing eye. I was very excited about the prospect of new chicks, but also wanted to taste an egg. One day, indeed, I enjoyed eating 1 tiny egg. However, all 10 remaining eggs were duds, not fertilized. G still sat on them for 2 months, even though incubation time is only 3 weeks. I finally grew pity of her and took the eggs away. With time, she came back to leading a normal life. While sitting on her eggs, however, she would get away only once a day or every other day to get a very fast bite, chasing everyone in sight, crowing with all her force. The four kids, in the meantime, led a very different life. Instead of sleeping on the ground as they did before with their mom, they found a way to climb the tree in front of my terrace, giving me the show of my life indeed. Every evening at 6:50 p.m. By 7 p.m., two of them were settled on a branch on my tree for the night, while the other couple preferred the mango tree on the side where the branches were too dense to observe. It was always the same couple, the black hen with her rooster in front of my terrace. At first, they climbed a pole I placed against a fallen tree trunk, which almost reached an electric wire. From the top of the pole, they jumped to the wire. They walked on it, keeping their balance, and then hopped to the tree. Even when younger, the two roosters fought between them. However, as adolescents, they waged war with more ferocity. Finally, the weaker one, I believe, disappeared. Maybe for greener pastures, I hope. The white hen left alone, slept alone, I believe, one night, but the lone rooster took pity of her and slept with her the next night, leaving the black hen all alone. I think that created havoc, as finally they decided all three to sleep together on my tree, the two siblings, chicken and the rooster brother. The evening show was different now. It was usually one of the hens climbing up first, choosing a good branch, then followed the rooster or the second hen that chose the same branch or not. Three could not fit on a branch, and this chicken didn't like to sleep alone. So it was always one of them unhappy, trying to fit by in vain. The rooster became a young man and started crowing with a changing voice. Within 2 weeks, he gained all his might and kept waking me up at 4 a.m. every morning and keeping crowing till the whole neighborhood knew he was the man. My neighbor too realized that and showed up at my door one day with a threat. Either I take care of the rooster or he will. I guess I was waiting for such an opportunity, although do not bend easily to threats. This one was too tempting. I was just becoming too tired, never getting a full night's sleep. Also, I was tempted to taste the young meat, although was not sure I can take it. My cook took it upon him to catch the rooster the next day, and that evening I had a nice chicken meat for dinner. We call it bicycle chicken, as they run all day and their meat is a bit harder as more muscular. That one was very good, maybe thanks to my good cook. I felt bad at the same time losing my son as I grew to love them as my own children. If you ever thought chicken are dumb, you were wrong. My chicken were very smart. They recognized me from my cook and came to me and ran away from him, fearing he will catch one of them too. They ran when I swept the floor from under the bird's cage. I grew some Senegalese parrots. as they knew all the good food that was there was for them, from under the cage. When the pole fell a few times, they found alternative ways to climb the tree. When one of them fell off the tree in the middle of the night, which happened once in a while, they found their way back, although you could see they were a bit blinded and had a hard time at it. In the middle of the night, it's hard to see. There were jealousy feelings too, as I interpret them. The white hen one night decided not to sleep with the other couple. You could see her stand there reflecting on where to pass the night. The rooster remembered the pole fell, even though I dressed it up again the next day, and it took him a while to be convinced by the hen that he could again climb the pole instead. The night after the rooster was killed, the two chickens remaining didn't climb the tree. I was heartened, but then realized they noticed the bad weather coming and found shelter in a better place under a heavier bush. That night, it stormed heavily. I left town for a few days, and at my return, things were different. The chicken never returned to the tree. Maybe it was not much fun there without their brother. G was walking about again, still aggressive, even though without eggs or young ones, still taking your kids away when food came. I fed them bread, corn, or whatever was left over of my table. They particularly liked papaya, just like my cats. And like my cat, they didn't particularly like mango, maybe because it was in ample supply in my yard or in other yards during 2 weeks out of the year. Soon enough, I noticed the same aggressive behavior in the black hen, the child, and knew she was readying for eggs laying too. She had 7 eggs, of which I ate 3, thinking they were not fertilized either. However, 3 weeks later, she had 3 chicks, 2 white and 1 black. One of the eggs remained whole. Her dead brother must have been the father. Rest his soul. I've become a grandma. Amazingly, the other white hen never laid eggs, remained old maid. She stuck mostly with G, her mother. During the day, the hens arrived here and there, requesting food or just resting on my terrace steps, cleaning themselves and resting. I left Benin in July of 2004 after a whole year in that house, spending many hours on my balcony watching the hen. The 3 chicks died. I'm not sure of the sort of the older hen. I suspected my cook either continued to raise them for the eggs or ate them one day after my departure. Louis, my neighbor across the street, promised to take care of my cat. I'm not sure if that ever happened. I knew Beninese eats cats, though a few aspire to raise them as pets. I miss my Beninese pets, children. They were my partners in my solitude, and the hen especially taught me about journaling. They taught me about journaling, and that's what I've been doing. Thank you for listening. It's my first story that I'm recording. I probably will continue and do more stories. And thanks to my friends that suggested to do that.